If you're planning on buying, selling, or even just paying attention to real estate in Massachusetts, 2026 feels different. Not dramatic, not chaotic, but noticeably different. There are a handful of changes that are quietly reshaping how people buy homes, how towns make decisions, and how people think about where and how they want to live. So today, I want to talk through 5 big changes affecting real estate in Massachusetts in 2026, especially as they show up across the North Shore, the Merrimack Valley, and even a little bit into southern New Hampshire. This isn't about predictions or hype, it's about what's actually happening on the ground and what people are running into in real life. Ready? Let's jump in. Number 1. Buyer home inspection rights are reshaping confidence. One of the biggest changes buyers feel immediately in 2026 is the way home inspection rights are handled. Massachusetts now clearly protects a buyer's right to a home inspection, meaning sellers cannot require a buyer to waive inspection as a condition of having their offer accepted. And this has had a real impact, not just legally, but emotionally. For buyers, it has restored a level of confidence that has been missing for a while, especially during the COVID market. A few years ago, buyers felt like they had to choose between protecting themselves or actually winning the home. Now the tone has shifted. Buyers are still competing, homes are still selling. Buyers aren't walking into one of the biggest purchases of their lives feeling like they have to cross their fingers and hope for the best. What's interesting is how this is changing behavior on both sides. Buyers are more willing to engage. They are less defensive in negotiation. They're more focused on understanding the home instead of racing past the due diligence process. And sellers are responding too. We're seeing more work to address inspection concerns prior to listing. We're seeing more transparency, and we're seeing more disclosure. The result isn't a slower market, it's actually a more functional one. 2. Transit-related zoning rules are playing out very differently town by town. Another major shift in 2026, even though it started last year, involves state zoning requirements tied to the availability of housing with direct transit access. Rather than naming rules or debating policy, what matters most is how this is actually shaping up locally. Some towns are leaning in, some are taking a more cautious approach, and some are doing the minimum required. Others are trying to use it as an opportunity, and that variation is the story. In some communities, zoning updates are being treated as a chance to modernize outdated rules, encourage thoughtful housing options, plan intentionally around town centers and transit. In others, the focus is on preserving existing character, limiting impact, moving carefully and incrementally. What's important for buyers and homeowners is understanding that there's no single Massachusetts experience here. 2 towns that look similar on a map can be responding very differently. And in 2026, those decisions are beginning to show up in what gets built, where it gets built, and what housing options actually exist. This is one of those changes that doesn't feel dramatic day to day, but is quietly going to shape this market over time. Are you thinking about relocating north of Boston? Well, I've got just the thing for you. My team and I have actually taken the time to create the ultimate relocation guide, which is meant to save you hours of research, and I've linked it down below. From top employers to the best hospitals and a boatload of other things that you need to know before making a move. The best part is that this guide is 100% free. That's right, you heard me right, it's just 100% free. So just click the link in the description or the top pinned comment. Hope that helps. Number 3. ADUs by right sounds simple, but the reality is more nuanced. Accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, are another big change people hear about constantly. At the state level, there's a clear push to make ADUs more accessible, and more straightforward. In practice, though, the experience still varies widely. Yes, ADUs are increasingly allowed by right, by law, but what that means depends heavily on the town and the lot, and whether the property is serviced by sewer or septic, the existing house structure, and the local interpretation. For some owners, ADUs have become a genuine option. Housing a family member, generating some income to offset mortgage costs, or planning for future needs. For others, the ideas sound great on paper, becomes more complicated once zoning details, setbacks, utilities, design requirements come into play. What's changed isn't that ADUs suddenly work everywhere, it's that they're part of the conversation everywhere. Homeowners are thinking longer term, buyers are asking different questions, and towns are gradually adapting, each at their own pace. 4. Hybrid work is no longer a trend, it's the baseline. By 2026, hybrid work isn't new, it's simply how work works. Most people aren't fully remote. Most people aren't 5 days in the office either. Instead, we're seeing stable middle ground. 2 or 3 in-office days, flexibility built into schedules, work from home space still very much in demand. This has permanently shifted what people value in a home. Layouts matter more. Dedicated office space matters more. Flexible rooms matter more, and yard space matters more. People are choosing homes not just for where they sleep, but for how they live most days of the week. And this is one of the reasons that areas outside of Boston continue to attract interest. You don't need to be right on top of the city if you're not commuting every single day. You need a home that supports real life. And in 2026, that mindset is fully baked in. Number 5, property tax pressure is creating real strain for towns. The final big change is quieter and incredibly important. Towns across Massachusetts are under growing pressure when it comes to funding services through property taxes. Costs continue to rise. Infrastructure is aging. Service demands haven't gone away, but the tools that the towns have to generate revenue are limited. So in 2026, we're seeing more tough budget conversations. We're seeing more overrides. We're seeing careful planning decisions and trade-offs that weren't visible before. This doesn't show up as a single headline. It shows up gradually. It shows up at town meetings, in planning decisions, and how communities prioritize projects. For homeowners and buyers, this matters because it affects long-term planning, community investment, how towns evolve over time. It's not a crisis, but it is a reality in towns that are navigating carefully. So I wanted to offer a closing thought. Taken together, these 5 changes paint a clear picture of Massachusetts real estate in 2026. It's more informed, it's more deliberate, it's more nuanced. Buyers are more protected. Towns are making thoughtful, if not sometimes difficult decisions. And people are choosing homes with a longer-term view than ever before. Understanding these shifts doesn't just make you smarter about real estate, it helps you understand why Massachusetts looks the way it does right now and where it is headed next.